You see, Freak Nation, motorsports never sleeps, right? We do horsepower hump day yesterday with the full crew. Then all of a sudden this drops this morning that Fox Sports Corporation, they've acquired a third of Penske Entertainment, which means, of course, not just the IndyCar series, but Penske Entertainment, which, of course, is Indianapolis Motor Speedway and all the ancillary items that go with it, Crash Gladys. So we wanted to hit this for 20, 30 minutes. If we can go that long, well, we could probably go 20 or 30 hours on IndyCar if Crash is here with me. Right.
Got a couple bottles of wine. Let's go.
Yeah, so we want to hit this a little bit and provide some insight to what we know, what we've heard outside of what you're reading, seeing on Twitter, and, of course, YouTube and everything else. We've got Chris Blair, president of Worldwide Technology Raceway. We got a quote from him. He'll be joining us with insight as a promoter and president of Worldwide Technology Raceway and what this means to a track owner. You might be surprised in what it means. We've also got quotes from Connor Daly, Graham Rahal, Zach Brown, and more coming up here in the Freak Nation. But before we go any further, Crasher, explain to the Freak Nation what all this means and where this came from, and probably where you saw this begin.
Ooh, well, that's a wide open question. I think this is good news for IndyCar fans. And I want to caution some of you to just pump the brakes a little bit if you're like, oh, media entities getting over involved in sports series. This is a trend that has been happening. I think the first time I really grew aware of this was with Liberty Media's purchase of Formula One, but that's neither here nor there. Yes, this morning it was announced that Fox Corporation has purchased a 1/3 stake, so 33%, in the Penske Entertainment Group, which does include, Kenny just alluded to, the IndyCar series, the IndyCar's TV rights, and the IndyCar TV production company, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So, Motor Speedway aside, because that's just kind of shocking to me, I first want to look at the price, because it was estimated, the full disclosure details are not out there, but it's estimated to be between 125 and 135 million, which seems low in the sports landscape. It honestly, it is. There are athletes that make more money than that. We've seen examples of Formula One teams. Actually, Aston Martin is selling a stake in their team. Just today, it was announced an hour after this IndyCar Fox Sports news. And that stake in Aston Martin is almost $1 billion. So that's a team, an individual team right there. This is a low valuation, but it is wickedly smart of Fox Sports to get involved at this low valuation, because guess what? They are vested. They are interested right now in growing this sport, growing it to who knows where, but they know it has to be bigger, and bigger means if they are ever to sell down the road, they make more money out of it. So all of this, in a sense, is positive, conclusively positive together. So where did this really come from? I honestly, and I don't have 100% confirmation on this, but I do have people talking in my ear about how some of these things came together. This was given to Roger as a proposal shortly after the Indy 500, given to Roger Penske, I should say, as a proposal shortly after the Indy 500. And he claims, his quote in the Wall Street Journal was that this was easy. This was an easy yes, that I absolutely had to say yes to this, selling a third stake in my company that I've been historically proven to be incredibly proud of and not wanting anybody else to tinker with. So I did some more digging on that. And as it turns out, yes, ratings are up overall. And if this proposal, again, was specifically made to Roger shortly after the Indy 500, that's taking us to the beginning of June. And we can look at ratings in all the spring races through the Indy 500. The Indy 500, 7.1 million. Yay, massive win. All the other races, though, they were on the maybe side. Yes, there was 1 million plus for St. Pete, but that's been done before. That was nothing new. Long Beach was a real punch in the gut, if we're going to be honest. The 50th anniversary of Long Beach, that hurt. Those 500-some thousand viewers, it hurt. So there's a lot there that Fox was not, they could spin it, and it is being spun in a few ways, saying, hey, ratings are up 30% overall. Yes, but they're not at the numbers where they need to be. I just said yesterday, I said this is
why do they need to be there? I know you're saying, and yeah, they say 31% increase in viewership overall, 41% with the Indianapolis 500. Mm-hmm. That's what, 7.01 million viewers, highest in 17 years. Well, who set the freaking benchmark of what they need to be? I mean, if you're double-digit increase, isn't that something that you're after?
Of course, it's something that you're after, but when it comes down to brass tacks, looking at the bottom line numbers, that's not something to be proud of in this overall sports landscape. Fox Sports is not just talking about competing with just other racing entities, aka Formula One and NASCAR, and no NHRA. I'm not combining you in here because I don't think IndyCar competes with NHRA. NHRA is so unique in and of itself. You're fine. You're absolutely just fine. But the sports landscape in general, I mean, Fox doesn't just tinker with the NFL. Fox doesn't just tinker with soccer. They jumped on board soccer early and have helped to grow it. The numbers are increasing at even better values versus IndyCar right now. Anyway, we're talking about the sports landscape that constantly drives millions of viewers. Look at the WNBA. They are now in that realm of 1 million viewers per game in some aspects. Not all, but in some. That's what you're essentially competing with when it comes to numbers. You want to be a major sports entity, a major sports series. You can't just say you have less than 1 million viewers on any given weekend. There are billions of people in this world, billions of eyeballs all around, that if you are only claiming 500,000, that's an embarrassment. That's at 734,000, which has been the exact number the last 2 weeks in a row. That's an embarrassment. So I personally believe that Fox took this on to Roger and said, you either sell to us or we're going to pull the plug. We need to have a bigger decision-making process in what you guys are doing as a series because the potential is there, but we're not yet realizing it. Sure, we can brag about increased ratings, but it's still not even close to where a major sport needs to be in this day and age in the U.S. landscape.
It's not any secret that Eric Shanks with Fox Sports, president of Fox Sports, he's a huge IndyCar fan.
Yes.
As a kid, saw numerous Indianapolis 500s with his old man. And when you have a Jones for something such as this, you know that he's going to pay particular attention to it. And I don't know him personally at all, but I would imagine he goes in there with these high hopes, Crasher, these numbers that you're looking for. And let's just say he has the same mentality you do, okay? And he's disappointed. So it's like right in front of me, I've got stacks of chips. I've already raised the ante, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, bam, I am all in with these chips. And I've not only purchased a third of the series, I've purchased everything that's attached to it. Mm-hmm. The Indianapolis 500 and that freaking track. So I'm not sure if the president of Fox Sports has the same attitude that you do. Maybe he has the same belief as you do, Crasher, that yes, there is that potential to climb back up that ladder. I'm not saying it's ever going to overtake NASCAR again, ever.
I'm not saying that either.
That's another side note. You got to imagine NASCAR's over there steaming going, again, this entire year going, where's our freaking popular sperm Joseph Newgarden spot? Getting back to him, to Shanks, this is a personal mission of Eric Shanks with Fox Sports. It's got to be, because
I love it. I'm not gonna deny that I think that IndyCar really got lucky in this move, and maybe there is more than luck, obviously. But the fact that he pushed so hard to be a part of this, I'm absolutely enjoying this without question, as you know. But I think there are other things. Like you said, it's not just about ratings. The ratings were not what I think many people wanted them to be in the spring. Indy 500 was a win. But you also had the reality show, 100 Days to Indy, that fell flat for a third year in a row. There's plenty of people that like it out there. And it's not bad, but it is flat, especially in the landscape of entertainment that we are in these days. You've got to have something that hits people right where they need it to hit. They've got to really be engaged with a show such as 100 Days to Indy. Interesting to me that we will have more episodes coming up in the fall of 100 Days to Indy. Whose decision was that? Is Fox reorganizing something with that? I'm not 100% sure, but I find it quite intriguing. Then shortly after the Indy 500, sometime in the middle of June, we get the news that Formula One is going to try to go head-to-head with the Indy 500 and in 2026. Part of that is a FIFA realization that Formula One doesn't want to be in Montreal as the World Cup is kicked off. Okay, fine.
Which, real quick, before, again, there's so many things I want to hit, Crasher.
Uh-huh.
Put a pin in that real quick. Share with the Freak Nation, Liberty Media in 2017, what they bought Formula One for. They didn't buy any tracks.
They didn't
bought the freaking series for how much?
And this is 2017.
Yes.
Granted, it is a global series.
Get it?
IndyCar used to be a global series, but it has fallen short of that over the last 20-ish years. Formula One was purchased for $4.6 billion in the year 2017. So for 1/3 of an IndyCar series, granted, again, so much has happened to IndyCar over the last 30 years that has devalued the overall product financially, not devalued what you see on TV,
right,
but financially. So for 1/3 of this now alleged massive sports series to be purchased at approximately 125 million to 135 million, again, that's 1/3, but still it's not a far departure from what Roger Penske apparently purchased everything for right before COVID, November of 2019, finalized in January of 2020. That was in the 250 to 300 million range. So we've only seen
and
an
we
increase.
were tripping over our D's on
We
that.
were loving that at the time, but we also
no. We're tripping over our D's because of the price that he paid for
so
the great, not just the series, but the greatest freaking race and racetrack on this planet.
Yep.
For the money that he spent for the entire entity of IMS and IndyCar was even below what I thought would have been just for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and everything comes with that.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed. Yeah. We were very shocked at that low valuation. And it hasn't raised much with, if we're talking about 1/3 of it now being worth 100 million, 125 million. That's what, a 20% increase. I mean, okay, if you're playing stocks and you get 20% in 5 years, you're kind of happy. But overall, the ratings were not what Fox wanted. This is, Kenny asked me earlier as we went live, how did this come to be? The ratings, even though the spin was that, oh, they're up, they're not what Fox wanted them to be. The reality show fell flat. Fox was frustrated. Then you have this F1 news of, hey, in 2026, the Montreal Grand Prix is going to go head to head with the Indy 500. Have fun on that, IndyCar fans.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, whatever, the Indy 500 is still going to outpace the Montreal Grand Prix. Sorry, F1, that's just reality. Still, it was another frustrating note. And then shortly thereafter come the talks of Mexico City and IndyCar. And yeah, so FIFA, again, I'm bringing this in because the World Cup next year from the second week of June to the second week of July is going to be massive on the sports schedule in venues. Let's remind ourselves, venues throughout Canada, the United States, and Mexico. So yes, that messed with Mexico and NASCAR. That messed with that date being in June. But IndyCar enters the conversation, and then they think, okay, we can throw this out in August after the World Cup is done. And, oh, hey, NASCAR's back in the conversation. Okay, what about a doubleheader? For some reason, as it has been told to us, Roger Penske was vehemently against doing a doubleheader with NASCAR in Mexico City, which honestly I think would be fantastic. What is that going to do to the Xfinity series? Arguably, is that going to X them out of the equation? I don't know. But I think that this needs to be entertained, and I think Fox Sports wants it entertained too.
IndyCar would be second to the Xfinity series. That would be the freaking headliner. Xfinity every freaking weekend outrates IndyCar. So if that's true, and again, we know that Roger Penske and his importance to motorsports and automotive isn't lost on us. We understand all of that. Yeah. But when you can't get out of your own way to realize that, you know what, bro, I ain't wearing any pants. The emperor has no clothes, to make a reference to that. But a lot of folks going, man, those pants look great, Roger. But you're not wearing pants or you're not wearing a shirt. The emperor has no clothes. That's my point. You got to get out of your own way and let some people who can figure this out, who are familiar with how to promote and how to get into the head of a 25-year-old versus a 65-year-old or an 85-year-old, Roger being in his mid-80s. So it's, again, sorry, the whole Mexico City, NASCAR, IndyCar joining up, if that doesn't happen.
In 2027,
right.
Again, put this World Cup aside, after that. Right.
Some pros and cons, I went to my good friend at Chat GPT, and man, he's just a damn good friend of mine because she and I think alike.
Wait, huh?
Yeah. Some of the pros with Fox Sports purchasing a third of IndyCar: audience growth potential. Fox Sports marketing machines is proven, of course, for the NFL, Big Ten, Major League Baseball, NASCAR. Leverage. Being a stockholder enhances Fox negotiating power in everything, whether it's track fees or ticket prices or advertising. Fox has a stake in that. And Fox's advertising wing, marketing advertising wing, frankly, second to none. Success with Big Ten Network, UFL fan.
Right.
There's a lot of things that, as we know, that Fox is involved with. But some of the risks that I see here is, as a minority stakeholder, it's going to be curious. And Richie Suave brought this up yesterday on Horsepower Hump Day, how the influence that's coming from the networks with the motorsports series is evident. And now with Fox owning a stake of IndyCar, the influence that they can bring into scheduling, marketing, tracks, drivers' attitudes, they still have limited control. But
was that a hit on Joseph, by the way?
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
They still have limited control, but how limited, since it's just not these guys coming in here with freaking $130 million. I got your freaking network. We got you kind of by the ball. IndyCar structural challenges. IndyCar still faces, we know this, the crap attendance. We saw it at Iowa, that the early season momentum of you go, bam, you hit them hard with St. Pete, and then you go dark for how many weeks? 2? 3? You have a killer race at Laguna Seca, and now you go dark for 2 weeks. This schedule's bullshit. And I didn't see a whole lot of dilution between what Fox covers. I really saw them pay attention to IndyCar this year. They didn't get lost. In fact, they incorporated their broadcast with IndyCar with the National Football League. So
they did.
Yeah, man, piggyback with that. Piggyback with their big properties.
I think that we are going to see a lot more of that because they emphasized, they being Fox Corporation, Fox Sports, they emphasized that part of this deal is to get the drivers to be better, well-known household names. And really the only way to do that is to have a social media plan that's a heck of a lot more entrenched, to have better just on-site awareness. And
Right.
Are we going to send some of these guys now to NFL games to do appearances? That is part of the plan, though, is to get the IndyCar drivers to be like it was in the past. Everybody knows the name Andretti. Everybody knows the name Unser. Almost everyone knows Sullivan and Spin to Win. So to get back to that mentality, and that's where I believe Eric Shanks wants to go.
There is a great writer with The Athletic, and he brought up something that I completely forgot about, where Fox Sports frankly choked back in the day. And I'm going to highlight some of the things that, what's Marchand's first name?
Oh, Andrew?
Andrew Marchand with The Athletic. Some of the things that he highlighted and reminded me of where Fox just freaking choked, and it was with the UFC.
Now, they didn't own any stake in it, right?
ESPN outbid Fox Sports with a 5-year deal worth $1.5 billion. That was $300 million a year. Fox reportedly offered about $200 million a year, up from $115 million. The previous deal. And Fox helped build UFC to what it is now.
Backsell that. Yeah, because Fox spent an enormous amount of money to build the
Time
UFC.
and effort and programming.
Years over years over years. And oopsies, then they lost UFC to more money. And so essentially what you're saying, Kenny, is that having a vested interest, having a stake in a sports series that they also want to grow, hopefully as successfully as what they did with UFC, now prevents that buyout from happening, correct?
Yes. Well, I guess. Again, we have not seen the freaking deal. We haven't seen the actual outline of the copy of how this thing's going to work out. Right?
True. We're speculating a lot, but we've had a lot of phone calls and texts this morning as well.
But I think Marchand was spot on with that. It's like, no, God damn it, we are not going to let this thing get away. because of the potential. Again, it's potential.
Right.
IndyCar's track record is shit, frankly. It is. And that's not me saying it. Those are people that collect checks from Penske Entertainment going, we just can't get out of our own way.
Right. People with the series, I've had people come up to me at racetracks this year saying, we're trying. And I'm like, well, then what gives? And they said, management. They don't want to, it's their way or the highway. So now let's hope that changes.
If you're just jumping into this, thank you all for tuning in, by the way. Just jumping into this conversation, we are coloring up what happened earlier this morning where Fox Sports has allegedly purchased a third of Penske Entertainment, which of course is Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the IndyCar Series and all the ancillary items that fall under the window of Penske Entertainment. That's what we're discussing at this point and kind of running through some of the items or some of the bullet points that maybe you haven't heard or read, some things that we're learning. But there's not a bigger fan combined with the intelligence of IndyCar than the woman to my right or left, depending on what camera we're on, Crash Gladys. So there's a lot of passion that will come out of her mouth. There's a lot of things that she will say that are true. And there's a lot of things that are opinions that come from her, but short of maybe, I'm not going to say short of maybe. Listen to what she's saying. She's got a lot of truth. And you know what Crasher, what you frankly say often are things that you hear from IndyCar fans and IndyCar employees, which again makes your blood boil to a point where it's like, man, calm the F down, Skipjack.
Well, at least for people in my age range, I'm low 50s. Sorry, I'm just going to throw it out there. We were hurt. We were hurt bad because I worked for an IndyCar team in the late 90s, but that was after the split. I graduated college in 94, Indiana University. And right after I graduated college was basically, well, no, we had 2 years, right? Of IndyCar's swan song. And then, the split. There is constantly, me, drivers my age, whether that be Dario Franchitti, Helio Castroneves, Tony Kanaan, we all feel like we've been robbed of what this series could have truly been. The mid-90s, the early 90s were absolutely spectacular. And we wanted that to keep going. That's what anybody wants in the sport that they love and have a job with. And it kind of kept that on the kart side, but the Indy 500 was still on the IRL side. And then come the 2000s, everything just falls flat. And it's been that way for 25 freaking years. And it's frustrating, beyond frustrating. You get a movie that comes out, Driven, and it's like, I talk about IndyCar's reality show, 100 Days to Indy, falling flat. Driven fell flat. Yet you constantly see other movies because of smarter heads and more money being pumped into them, whether that's Cars or Talladega Nights, and it benefits other series. And it just drives, the knife just keeps going in the heart.
Turbo was spectacular. A freaking snail winning the Indianapolis 500.
You really had to go there.
Sorry. Again. Foot, where am I? Camera. Foot, shoot. Turbo. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, there's a lot of the texts I've received today are from people that I was hanging with in the mid 90s. And they're like, what does this mean? How, can we finally get back to where we thought we were going in the 90s? You know what? I'm holding out hope, but holding a Fox IndyCar behind me. Oh, hi.
Thank you, Eric Arneson, for that, by
yes,
the way.
Right. Is this basically because this is the future? Oh, no. The future needs a different chassis. Let's hope that Fox Sports gives us new die-casts in 2 years that are so much sexier.
Do you realize that chassis is older than our daughter? Right?
Our daughter's 11.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Okay. I derail you on.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But I also think people should not be too alarmed at sports having an interest in, media having an interest in sports entities. Yes, it's a slippery slope, and we're seeing that with NASCAR and NBC right now, even though there's not an ownership stake there. But is NBC dictating too much of what the NASCAR playoffs should be? We could argue yes on that. Do we want anything like that to happen with Fox and IndyCar? Hell no. But it is a trend that is coming because money is just, greater amounts of money are necessary the more and more we go forward to make sports series successful and to get those ratings in the millions mark where you need them, because that's where advertising dollars come. And again, the wheel just turns. The ratings are up, the sponsors pay money, and everybody's making more money. But I mean, you might hear, I don't know if it's going to be this fall, but it's approaching a lot higher levels of conversation. ESPN, Disney ESPN just may be purchasing a 10% stake in the NFL. Yes, that's 10% versus 30%, or what do we have here? 1/3, 33% for IndyCar and Fox. Right. But that thing is a trend. That thing is happening. Kenny brought up the Big Ten network. Fox has an interest in that. ESPN has interest in other NCAA networks. So this is a trend that's been going on, arguably, since Liberty Media purchased Formula One, maybe a little bit before. It's not going, don't get too frustrated by that just yet. Let's see what happens with the third stake in the next year or two, and then we can see how that may or may not be beneficial moving forward, even though I think they need the deep pockets. They absolutely do.
We can get caught up in, and we're as guilty as anybody. When Roger first purchased Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the IndyCar series, we went bananas, man. But when we found out how much he purchased it for, he was like a few of those memes where we just go, what?
I could have gotten a loan for that.
What? You purchased that track for, and again, it was never disclosed, Crasher, how much he paid for it, but allegedly
$250 million to $300 million, in that ballpark. Whoa.
God.
Whoa.
So let that resonate, Freak Nation. So my point is this. We can all get excited about Fox Sports purchasing a portion of the IndyCar series and Indianapolis Motor Speedway and what that means for the series for us. Because, again, outside of a funny car or top fuel car staying on the track in 1,000 feet and going 330 plus mile per hour.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you been paying attention this summer? 340.
I said plus. Okay. 340 plus mile per hour. My favorite four-wheeled sport is IndyCar. Not Formula One, but freaking IndyCar. So you've got two very strong proponents for the series itself, which might foster some of the frustration that we've had with this series. We had the freaking president of CART 1 or 2 years into our tenure as Speed Freaks. Again, we're celebrating 25 years. Come to our live broadcast Sunday morning from California Speedway and freaking bow down to us because we continue to call him out and the series. Crasher had her freaking credentials threatened. Oh, you don't want to do this. You don't want to piss off it. Let's go. I'm not saying we're doing that now.
No. But what we were saying at the time, too, I'm like, am I wrong? I'm not wrong. You just don't want this exposed, but I'm not wrong. And I say these things because I care about the sport. This is my favorite sport. So that's essentially where you're getting with the frustrations over the years.
So let's again trumpet some of the positivity that's coming out of this. Our very good friend, Chris Blair, president of Worldwide Technology Raceway, who's in the middle of a Ross Chastain media tour as they're selling tickets for the playoff race at Worldwide Technology Raceway. By the way, go to www.raceway.com to get your tickets for the NASCAR
dollars.
Cup race. But Chris was so kind to stop and give us his input on really what this means as a track owner, an independent track owner and promoter with the track. It's Chris Blair with Worldwide Technology Raceway with some fantastic insight.
Hey, Kenny, Crash. Hope you guys are doing well. We're out on a media tour right now with Ross Chastain, so I stepped out just to answer this question. Yeah, the news this morning about the Fox Penske deal, it's big, but it's also very exciting for us. We entered into this season with a great deal of excitement, anticipation of what the partnership could look like. We saw tremendous results with our race last month, and now I think going forward, knowing that Fox is all in and now really has this interest, I think there's going to be some great opportunities. And I love the comment that they made that they really want to help out with the event attendance, because that's very critical. There's a lot of things there that we see where if we can have Fox helping us with how we're fulfilling sponsorships, how we're getting people to the racetrack, I think possibilities are endless. And I honestly believe this is a great move. I follow a lot of these things. This might be the opportunity for this media consumption to go to a whole new level, having Fox behind it and pushing it for many years to come. So we're excited, glad to know there's a strong future ahead for IndyCar and this Fox relationship.
You will not find a better track president / promoter than Chris Blair. Fans, you will not, because it's fans first, series second, with Chris Blair and Worldwide Technology Raceway Crasher.
No, without question. I mean, his pedigree in motorsports and all the different facets he's gotten his hands dirty with. He's got the passion, just like, well, all of us do.
Of course, some of the drivers chiming in. Alexander Rossi. This is big, exciting times ahead. Which, frankly, for Alexander Rossi, he gave us, 2 sentences? Usually it's so short, maybe he just would have said, this is big. So consider that a win from Alexander Rossi fans. This is big, exciting times. Connor Daly. I thought Connor Daly would actually give us a little bit more than this. This level of
let's put the facts out here. They're all on vacation right now because of that stupid hole in their schedule. Not the driver's fault, but they're on vacation, so they don't want to spend too much time on the Twitter on the tweets.
Tell that to Connor Daly. This level of commitment to our sport is fantastic from Connor Daly. Graham Rahal, who, yes, we found out he is on vacation. In fact, he was texting from a plane, from what we understand.
Yes.
Graham Rahal, IndyCar Series pilot. LFG, big news for our sport. Thank you, Fox. No doubt we'll take our sport and marketing to another level. That is much needed to match with that great TV package. And Zach Brown from Arrow McLaren, and of course McLaren in Formula One, chimes in with a big step forward for IndyCar today as Fox Sports deepens their investment in the series. This kind of commitment shows just how much potential our series has for long-term growth, and I'm looking forward to this partnership taking things to the next level.
Yep. Okay.
What driver's going to come out and going, this is shit?
No.
Why can't we go back to USA Network, man? Versus
CNBC and that 79,000 rating from Laguna Seca last year. Whoa. Yeah, no, not fair.
What, we're going to get bumped for a regular season softball game? Cornhole?
I think this does bode well for fans who are wondering, is the entire 2026 season going to be on Big Daddy Fox? No FS1, no FS2. Not 100% sure that can be the case, again, because of the World Cup and Fox's massive stake in that. And that's, again, the second week of June to the second week of July. But I think that there are some things that will be at play here to greatly make IndyCar so much more visible, even with the conflicts of the World Cup.
Getting to some of the comments on YouTube and Facebook Live. Bailey, Big Glenn checking in. Sebastian the Cat. Richard C. Suave taking some time out to join the Freak Nation. See. All right. Again, nothing that we really haven't hit, Crasher.
Okay.
Frankly.
Bottom line, yeah, because I don't know how much longer we want to go with this, but bottom line, Fox knows, and we said this yesterday, you got to have at least 1 million viewers every single week. Every single week. Sponsorships will not come unless that is the baseline. So Fox is going to help that. You've got to have your drivers be household names. These are just things that Fox will now be able to have a voice in. They have a decision-making process now with Roger Penske and Penske Entertainment. They didn't have that before as much as they will now, at least, because they were frustrated with ratings. They were frustrated with ancillary television shows. They were frustrated with other things going on and not being addressed, not being transparent enough. So now, yeah, Fox is going to get the rating. They're going to push to get the ratings that they want. They're going to push to get better activation from drivers and from sponsors. Remember, we used to have that in the 90s as well, in which sponsors would take out, newspapers were still big then, but an entire spread of the USA Today or entire spread of the Wall Street Journal congratulating their driver after winning on Sunday. That's completely fallen away. Stuff like that digitally, that will happen now. There's so much more that is going to happen that will make us happy again. I'm excited.
All right, Freak Nation. Don't forget, every Sunday, Freak Radio Network, YouTube, Facebook Live, if you miss it, Racer Network, Mondays, 12 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. The only motorsports wrap-up show Sunday nights across all social media channels and digital networks, SpeedFreaks, right?
You know who we didn't hear from? Well, we don't need to hear from him. Michael Andretti. I just, for some reason, as you're talking, his name just popped into my head, and I'm like, God, he's been one of the guys. He and Zach Brown both have been bitching, and he got flack for it about how the series needs to take better ownership of the amazing product that they have. And I just would love to be a fly on his wall right now, his reaction to this news. Meanwhile, he's spending more money. He and his groups are spending more money to form an F1 team, the Cadillac F1 team, than the entire value of IndyCar. Again, mind-blowing. But Fox, maybe they can help grow the series to what we would all like it to be.
Boom. So again, Freak Nation, follow us on all of our social media channels. Be sure you subscribe, like this at Official Speed Freaks on YouTube. As when things like this happen, we're here, man. We're here for you. And we're hearing from quite a few of you. Follow us on Twitter, of course, Facebook, Instagram, the website, speedfreaks.tv. And we'll do it again Sunday night.
With a lot more insight to this as well. I mean, this is like the knee-jerk show, just to get things out there for fans, to show positives, negatives, what this really is all about. But Sunday we'll have a heck of a lot more insight into what this means moving forward for IndyCar and for Fox.
Should that be the title of our show, the knee-jerk show?
The Thursday knee-jerk show?
Hey-o!
Sure.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out.
Yeah.
This has been awesome, man. Again, Sunday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, Facebook Live, Freak Radio Network, Podcast Network, and of course, if you miss it, Sundays on Racer Network. We'll see you then.
But I'm not a liar.
Got enough?
Yeah.